What if there are rules that you've been following to build your business that are holding you back from that seven-figure success that you're looking for, and you have no idea they're there? You're like, Pamela, I know, I've done everything right. Why am I still stuck? Well, these are invisible blueprints that you don't know how hard they are working against you and have been from day one. Well, who am I? Well, my name is Pamela Dale, and I've spent years working with 5- and 6-figure business owners who are stuck. They know, myself included, yourself included, have the potential for more, but it felt like every step forward came with twice as much effort. And let me tell you, this is how you and I face this burnout and question whether or not this thing is ever going to really translate into any real success. But here's the real problem. Listen up. You're not putting in enough effort. You are following outdated rules that weren't built for your business, and they're working against you. And you're like, hold up, Pamela. Of course I've been working hard. You have, but you've been working on the wrong things. I want to show you how to build a business that works for you, not the other way around. So if you want to break through this seven-figure success without sacrificing your life, you're in the right place. So hold on. Some of these are going to shock you. Let's talk about these blueprints that I talked to you about, and you didn't sign up for them. That's what's really sabotaging your growth. It's not that you are missing some magical tactic. Don't buy another course. You've been given some blueprints without your permission, and they are stronger than any tactic you could ever put in place. You need to first understand these blueprints and then how to overcome them. Number one, trading time for money. Where does this come from? We're taught really early on that success means working a set number of hours for a wage. This created a mindset that ties income directly to the time spent rather than the value you have delivered. This is the trap. In business, if you think more hours means more money, you're setting yourself up to overwork, and it caps your growth. This is what leads to your overworking in business, rather than finding ways to scale effectively. This has been programmed to you since birth, readying you for the corporate structure. Know that's where it comes from, and then make a decision. Do you want to move past it? Do you want to actually stop trading time for money and put yourself in a place where you can build the right systems to scale? It's your brain working against you. For example, think of that feeling when you put in those extra hours and you expect it to result in extra pay, and then you realize it actually doesn't. This is the corporate structure at work. Blueprint number two, believing more hours equals more success. So this is close to the number one, but stay with me. This one gets us all. We think if we're not grinding away, we're falling behind. So there's no ease, right? Long hours don't automatically lead to bigger success. They just lead to exhaustion. So for example, you might find yourself working late nights and weekends because you believe the sheer effort will drive the growth. This effort will not drive your growth. Blueprint number three, invisible as well, rewarding hard work over smart work. Weren't we often praised for working long hours and putting in effort regardless of the actual incomes? This really creates that mindset that gives us that connection between hard work and success, rather than focusing on working strategically or leveraging tools and systems for greater impact. This is going to lead to that unnecessary overwork rather than building efficient systems for sustainable growth. You know it. How much, hands raised, did you in your corporate world just need to look busy? You have brought that with you, and it's killing you. Number four, avoiding failure at all costs. The dreaded F on the school paper. We have all been conditioned to think failure is the worst thing that can happen. And if you're scared to take risks, you're going to stick to safe strategies that aren't moving the needle. Safe doesn't build seven-figure businesses. Example, it's like sticking with a marketing strategy or a client that isn't really working because you're afraid to experiment and possibly fail. Playing safe keeps you from trying the bold moves that would really set you and your business up for the success you're actually looking for. Really give this one a think. How much does failure play in your business? How much are you avoiding failure? I would say probably 17 times a day. And you need to put yourself out on the limb 17 more times a day to actually reach the goals. And you have got to be okay and understand what the Instagram quotes have been telling you for so long about failure. Number 5, this blueprint. Stability over growth. Corporate environments, school environments often emphasize stability and predictability over innovation and scalability. Don't go to your manager with any crazy ideas. This means that business owners then hesitate to take the risks necessary for the exponential growth. 7 figures is exponential. So you favor incremental progress instead. Can I get an amen? Invisible blueprint number 6, following a set hierarchy. Oh my God, when I read this one, I was like, what? The problem here is that you are hiring and paying for outside knowledge because you are used to working under someone else and you learned to wait for instructions and didn't take initiative. In your business, you need to make the calls, not wait for someone else to do it for you. You've learned to work under authority figures and wait for instructions, which discourages your independent decision making and risk taking. And this makes it harder to embrace leadership and autonomy in your own business. You need to set the vision, lead, rather than seeking approval. Number 7, experiencing linear progression in success. Let's take a look at the corporate life. Once again, it tells you success is what? Climbing a ladder step by step. But in business, growth is more like this. Dips, turns, jumps. And if you're waiting for steady, you're missing out. Many people feel frustrated because they expect this business growth to be linear, like climbing this little corporate ladder that you were conditioned to, right? But entrepreneurship is a series of leaps, pivots, flexibility, quick adaptation. Each aspect of this corporate conditioning limits your growth. Every single one of these invisible blueprints are what is keeping you stuck. These are the mental blocks that are preventing you from hitting that 7 figures. But the good news is you can break free from them. So how do we overcome them? Step number 1, we got to be clear. It ain't 2019 nor 2022. We're slipping right into 2025, and online business is harder than it's ever been, and it ain't going to get any easier. But the good news is the ones who truly want to be here next year will do the work to stay. So you've got to override decades of programming, and everything you see and watch and listen to is enforcing these in your brain. You have to break out of your current environment. Limit some of the things you watch and listen to. Who are you currently around? You've heard the famous Jim Rohn quote, right? You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about it. Is that TV? Is that the environment that you're in with your family and friends? They tell you don't take risks all the time. They're running on the same programming. Please know that. And sometimes your environment is you. You've got to take this seriously. If you want 7 figures, lady, gentlemen, it's time to really take a look at how do you think? And then we need to start to think about why would we even continue down a path that causes such heartache, tears, and frustrations, right? It's just plain hard out here. You started this business for a reason, and that reason needs to be more than money. It can be money to start, but it's going to eventually need to be more than money because it isn't rolling in like it used to. Where you are compared to where you want to go, for me, has been absolutely heartbreaking. So you need something to keep you going through the rough times. It's going to take even more than you think in terms of skills, desires, and money. How do you maneuver through the gap between what one knows is possible in your heart, right? And what one is able to do today is painfully emotional for many of us. And that's why you need the why of all whys. You've probably heard this before. Maybe you wrote one, maybe you didn't, maybe you disregarded it. Well, you better dust that bitch off, because I'm telling you right now, if you're not in touch with that, this game is going to take you out. You're going to need to override the programming, and you're going to need to override your environment environment, and you're going to need to override what's going on in the marketplace. If you don't have a why bigger than maybe being homeless, like it's time to find it. Now, you might think maybe just ended up here by accident. I don't really want 7 figures, because you still equate that time with money and you're thinking about, oh my God, burnout. I don't want to burn out. 7 figures is burnout. Well, let's talk about the burnout myth. Many times, people don't tell themselves the truth about money. One reason we say we don't want more money is because we're still associating all of those blueprints. And I am here to say that value creates money. So first up, here's some truth. Most of the time, you're either doing nothing, nada, or you're overworking. So most people think burnout is caused by working too many hours or working too hard. This is incorrect. True burnout is fueled by 3 things: stressful thinking, poor planning, scarcity thinking. And when you don't have enough time or space to think, to manage your mind, work on your purpose, and have this willingness to fail, you are not going to make it. Because here's the truth. True burnout, that comes from trying to outrun your own negative emotions. It comes from trying to trade this moment that you're in for the better moment in the future. True burnout comes from, wait for it, you have full clarity in what you want to do. You've planned ahead and you execute your plan. Your thoughts about yourself and your work are positive. You don't feel sorry for yourself, even though you may be tempted. Oh, self-pity. You aren't driven by scarcity and think that you can make up for it with more and more and more. Your plan has become unreasonable. 7 figures is unreasonable. Your results have become more important than enjoying the journey. Not going to be fun out there. You're not in a hurry. There's no reason to rush to the result. Your productivity is high and you have a lot to show for your work. And finally, you have a compelling result. The solution to burnout is to plan more and do more. The emotion driving you to change your mind, do less, and change your mind all the time and give it up, right? I quit, is driven by self-pity. Yep. You think this is supposed to be as easy as they make it look on Instagram? I'm telling you right now, sister, it isn't. Burnout is all about managing those outdated blueprints, aka thoughts, and the emotions that you're feeling as a result. So it's time to face the facts. So how do we do that? Well, there's one place. We go to your calendar. If you're even using one, if I asked you right now, how did you spend your week last week? Could you tell me on your calendar? Is it slotted in moment by moment? And did you stick with what you said you were going to do? If not, what you're calling burnout is not burnout at all. Time is the only asset that you have. So the first thing you need to do is dust off your goals. If you don't have any for like the next 3, 6, 9, or 12 months, you need to do that first. Then you must reverse engineer them. This is going to be hard if you've never done it before. If you don't have this, what's going to happen is someone else is going to come into that white space on your calendar and you're going to very quickly and easily give up that time. Somebody has another need that you think is more important than yours. And it isn't, because you have a why. You have a business that is not creating the life that you want it to create for you. When I first did this, I was like, whoa, I underestimated what needed to be done. What was I actually doing? I didn't save any time for lunch. Probably wasn't eating lunch, or I was eating too much lunch. Like, you know what I'm saying, right? So it's going to be really hard for you to do that. So what I want you to do, what I do actually, is every week I start with planning the week, but during the week I keep these little index cards and I write out all of the things that need to be for next week, because this week's already planned. It ain't coming in this week. It's going in next week. Nobody's died from a lack of marketing or some funnel didn't work or whatever. Like, seriously. And if you've got systems and processes in place, this is going to take care of itself. But it does take time to turn the Titanic. So I write things down, and then on Sunday, I go in and I plan my week and I block it out. And you know what? If there's no time left for client calls, but I do leave time because I know that in 12 months, I need 16.67 clients at $15,000 each, makes $250,000. Here I'm going. So I need 1.37 a month. So then I need 3 calls a month to get that one client. So I'm going to maybe take five slots a month and plop them in for those client calls. Now, I do keep a little extra time so people have some options when they go to book in, but I already know that's how this is going to work. And then half my day, I'm working on social media or recording these videos, say, for example. The other half of the day, I'm working on client work. And then, you know what? A little bit of CEO duties, and we're laughing because I'm not doing all the other stuff that's not involved with my goals. You'd be surprised how much you're doing that has nothing to do with your goals. Go ahead, just for this week, try it out. List out everything that you want to do to reach your goals and then put it in the calendar. And at the end of the week, let's have a look. Did you do the thing you said you were going to do, or was it off track? In my experience, it's going to be off track the first week because you have no idea how you're currently spending your time or how you need to spend your time. And there's going to be a wake of your decisions because you're currently living the decisions from last week, last year. They're still going to be here. So you're going to need to sit down and have some conversations with people, and you're going to need to start to clean things up. Absolutely, you are. You need to protect your time. And this is how you're going to keep control of your calendar and reach your goals without the overwhelm. So let's talk about boundaries first. This is my absolutely delicious boundary, client communication, and conflict resolution document that you can get for absolutely free down below. I'll just give you the link for it. Here's what this is going to start to do. It's going to start to get you to think in a different way. You're going to have to be tighter with what you're doing time-wise. You're going to have to say no. You're going to have to ask for help. You're going to need to speak to clients. You have the right to change your mind. I'm going to say that again. You have the right to change your mind. It's going to be challenging for some, but the people that love and adore you are going to go, oh my goodness, of course, absolutely. How can I help? Because you need to start to break free from some of these outdated blueprints, managing burnout, reclaiming your time, and working smarter. So take a couple of minutes, reflect on which of the invisible blueprints really hits home the hardest for you. Maybe it's letting go of this time equals money. When you go to the calendar, you're going to notice it. Or maybe it's setting up your environment, right? Cleaning it up. Removing some of those things, right? Having some conversations. What can you do instead of watching TV? What can you do instead of going and doing these tasks with clients that maybe aren't being paid for, etc.? Removing some of the tasks off your calendar and adding in the appropriate tasks for your calendar, because it's absolutely possible to achieve 7-figure success without losing your mind. This is going to make it happen.